Hari Om. Pradeep ji and Sukumar ji, this Suresh ji's father's Mahamrityunjay jap we will do after the invocation is over, right?
Trayambagam, no?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Do after the invocation.
After the invocation prayers are over. Okay, fine.
So Manishi will do it, huh?
Yeah, I'm okay. I'll do it.
Yeah.
Okay. Hari Om, Sukumar ji, please commence.
Sahana vavatu sahanau bhunatu sahaviryam karavavahe tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahe. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakodi Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvadam. Om Samasta Jana Kalyani Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram. Om Sri Chinmaya Sadgurave Namaha. ॐ प्रातस्मरामि हृदि संस्फुरदात्मतत्त्वं सच्चित्सुखं परमहंसगतिं तुरीयम् यस्वप्नजागरसुषुप्तमवैधि नित्यं तद्ब्रह्म निष्कळमहं न च भूतसङ्कः प्रादर्भजामि मनसा वचसामगम्यम् वाचो विभान्ति निखिलाय तनुग्रहेण यन्नेति नेति वचने निगमावऊचो सन्देव देवमजमच्युतमाहुरग्र्यम् प्रादर्नमामि तमसः परमर्कवर्णम् पूर्णं सनातनपदं पुरुषोत्तमाख्यम् यस्मिन्निदं जगदशेषमशेषमूर्तो रज्ज्वाम्बुजङ्गमैव प्रतिभासितं वै ॐ प्राणसेदं वशे सर्वं धृतिवेय प्रतिष्ठितं मातेव पुत्रान् रक्षस्व श्रीज्ञप्रज्ञां च विधेयन इति ശാരദാ സ്തോത്രം. നമസ്തേ ശാരദേ ദേവി കാശ്മീരപുരവാസിനി സ്വാമഹം പ്രാർത്ഥയേ നിത്യം വിദ്യാദാനം ച ദേഹി മേ. യാ ശ്രദ്ധാ ധാരണാ മേധാ വാഗ്ദേവി വിധിവല്ലഭാം ഭക്തജിഹ്വാഗ്രസദനാ ക്ഷമാദിഗുണദായിനി. നമാമി യാമിനീം നാഥ ലേഖാലങ്കൃതകുന്തളാം ഭവാനി ഭവസന്താപ നിർവാപനസുധാനദീം. ഭദ്രകാളി നമോ നിത്യം സരസ്വത്यै നമോ നമഃ. വേദവേദാംഗ വേദാന്ത വിദ്യാസ്ഥാനേഭ്യയേവ ച ബ്രഹ്മസ്വരൂപാ പരമാ ജ്യോതിരൂപാ സനാതനി സർവവിദ്യാധിദേവീയ തസ്യൈ വാണ്യൈ നമോ നമഃ. യയാ വിനാ ജഗത് സർവം ശശ്വജ്ജീവൻ മൃതം ഭവേത്. ജ്ഞാനാദിദേവിയാ തസ്യൈ സരസ്വത്यै നമോ നമഃ. യയാ വിനാ ജഗത് സർവം മൂകമുന്മത്തവത്സതാം യാ ദേവി വാഗധിഷ്ഠാത്രി തസ്യൈ വാണ്യൈ നമോ നമഃ. യാ ദേവി വാഗധിഷ്ഠാത്രി തസ്യൈ വാണ്യൈ നമോ നമഃ. ഓം മൂകം കരോതി വാചാലം പങ്കും ലംഘയതേ ഗിരിം യത്കൃപാതമഹം വന്ദേ പരമാനന്ദമാധവം. യം ബ്രഹ്മാ വരുണേന്ദ്രരുദ്രമരുതഃ സ്തുന്വന്തി ദിവ്യൈസ്തവൈ വേദൈ സാംഗപദക്രമോപനിഷദൈ ഗായന്തി യം സാമഗാം. ധ്യാനാവസ്ഥിതഗദേന മനസാ പശ്യന്തി യം യോഗിനോ യസ്യാന്തം ന വിദുഃസുരാസുരഗണ ദേവായ തസ്മൈ നമഃ. സർവധർമാൻ പരിത്യജ്യ മാമേകം ശരണം വ്രജ. അഹം ത്വാ സർവപാപീഭ്യോ മോക്ഷയിഷ്യാമി മാ ശുചഃ. Slokas 11 to 20. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Shri Krishna Paramatmane Namaha. Adha Saptamodhyayah Jnana Vijnana Yogaha. Shri Bhagavanuvacha Bhalam Bhalavatam Chaham Kamaraga Vivarjidam Dharma Viruddho Bhuteshu Kamosmi Bharadarshabham. Ye chaiva swatvika bhavaha rajasastamasaschaye matta eveti tam vidhi natvaham teshu te mayi. Tribir gunamayir bhavehi ebhi sarvamidam jagata mohitam nabhijanati മാമേഭ്യ പരമവ്യയം. ദൈവീ ഹേഷ്യാ ഗുണമയി മമ മായാ ദുരത്യയാ മാമേവ യേ പ്രപദ്യന്തി മായാമേതാം തരന്തി തേ. Namam dushkritino mudhaha prapadyante naradhamaha Mayaya pahridajnanaha asuram bhavamasritaha Chaturvidha bhajante ma jana suhridino junam Artho jijñāsurartharthi Jnani cha bharadarshapam Tesham jnani nityayuktaha Ega bhaktir vishishyate Priyo hi jnani notyartham Aham sacha mama priyaham Udara sarva vede Jnani tvatmeva me matam Astidah sahi yuktatma Mame nuttamam gadim Bahunam janmanam ande Jnanavan mam prabadhyate Vasudeva sarvamiti Samahatma sudurlabham Kameste hridajnanaha Prapadyantenya devataha Tam tam niyamamasthaya Prakrtya niyada swayam Om Tat Sat.
Hari Om. Before commencing this week's class, as per our prediction, Suresh ji lost his beloved father this week, and we will do a Mahamrityunjay jap 7 times for that. So I will commence that, and then after that we'll proceed with the normal class. Hari Om. Om Trambakam Yajamahe Sugandhin Pushtivardhanam Urvarukmiv Bandhanan Mrityumokshi Yamamritat. Om Trambakam Yajamahe Sugandhin Pushtivardhanam Urvarukmiv Bandhanan Mrityumokshi Yamamritat. Om Trambakam Yajamahe Sugandhin Pushtivardhanam Urvarukmiv Bandhanan Mrityumokshiyamamritat. Om Triambakam 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 Yajamahe Sugandhin Pushtivardhanam Urvarukmiv Bandhanan Mrityumokshiyamamritat. Hari Om. Hari Om. We will commence with the regular class. Dilip ji, please do the recap for the last week.
Hari Om. Last week we have discussed verses 10 and 11. So 10 and 11. Bijam mam sarva bhudanam vidhipartha sanadanam buddhir buddhivanam asmi tejasvejasvinamaham balam balavadamaham kamaraga vivarjidam dharma viruddho bhudeshu karmosmi bharadarshava. These two verses were elaborately discussed, and all the members participated in the explanations, and we have in-depth explanation from Sanjay ji also. To recap that, what Bhagavan, Lord Krishna reveals in this, that he is the Bijam in Sarva Bhodana. He is omnipresent in all Jiva Jalas in the universe, and it is reflected. It will be reflected as we evolve and as we move closer to the God. What the stanzas clearly says is that devoid of passion, and try to attach to the self, God, presence of God in the self, and which will reflect the what you call the Teja Prabha, and all things will be reflecting through your the presence of God in yourself. What this it is, Bhagavan is reassuring this. I am the intelligence of the intelligent, and another example is I am the strength in the strong. From these examples, we can clearly understand that it is reflected in everybody. Gurudev has given an example clearly how electricity functions in your body, in various equipment, and where cold and heat and all those things are sound are being generated from electricity. This is all, the source is only one, which is electricity. Though it is not evident, it can give the presence provided you give the right ingredients. Similarly, the God presence in you will be reflected if you attach yourself to the God, through spiritual sadhanas or bhakti marga, jnana yoga, karma yoga. All through this, you can reflect God's presence in yourself. Hari Om.
Hari Om. We will move on with the normal. Now, Vithalji, please commence this week's discussion.
Hari Om. Hari Om. Om Jai Sadgurave Namaha. Start. Ye chaiva satvika bhava rajasastamasa ye matta eveti tan vidhi natvaham teshu te mai. Ye, whatever, cha and eva, even, satvikaha, pure, bhavaha, mental state or nature, rajasaha, active, tamasaha, dull, cha and ye, whatever, matta, from me, eva, even, iti, thus, tan, them, vidhi, no, na, not, tu, indeed, aham, I, teshu, in them, te, they, mai, in me. Whatever beings and objects that are pure, active, and inert, know them to rise from me, yet I am not in them, they are in me. In this stanza, the Lord concludes the topic of his discussion, which he undertook while commenting upon his own statement. All this is strung in me as a row of pearls on a thread. The term Maya, as used in the literature of Vedanta, is nothing other than the different impulses under which the mind and the intellect of the living kingdom comes to act. The infinite variety of thoughts and ideas that arise in the heart of the living kingdom have been observed and classified under three main moods, governed by which alone do the instrument of feeling, thinking, and action comes to play their parts everywhere. These three characteristics, the eternal moods of the subtle body, are called unactivity sattva, activity rajas, and inactivity tamas. With this knowledge of the three gunas, as they are called, when we try to understand the stanza, it becomes easy to understand whatever state pertain to these three temperaments of the heart and the head are possible. They all rise from the self. This is a statement which is only a reinterpretation in philosophical terminology of what has already been explained. The infinite consciousness is the supreme reality, the spirit, upon which the matter, constituting its lower nature, is but an apparent experience. They all rise from the truth in as much as all the waves rise from the ocean. All all mud pots rise from the mud. All ornaments made of gold come from gold. This verse concludes with a beautiful statement which reads like a conundrum or riddle. The self contradiction in such an arresting statement is an art deliberately cultivated by Hindu philosophical writers. It has the charm that invites an independent intellectual investigation by the student, all for himself, upon the declaration, in order that he may come to the sweet secret of its true import and significance. Still, I am not in them, they are in me. Such a statement could necessarily be false in any situation, because if A is not B, the latter cannot be the former. So also, if I am not in them, they cannot be in me. This sweet paradoxical statement clearly indicates that the relationship between spirit and matter is not in terms of cause and its effect, but it is only an superimposition of matter upon the spirit. To the deluded, the post can only explain the ghost of our vision had risen from me alone, inasmuch as I alone lend to it its existence. But I, the post, am not in the ghost. So too shall the ocean cry, the waves rise, stay and dissolve in me, but I am not in the waves. As Shankaracharya would have it, the self declares here that even though matter depends entirely for its existence upon the conscious principle, yet the divine spark is no way under the thraldom of matter. Matter takes out its existence from the spirit, but the spirit is in no way and at no time, even by a fraction, controlled, contaminated, or shackled by the sad lot of finite, imperfect matter. In the following stanza, Lord Krishna regrets that the world does not understand him in his true nature. What is this ignorance on the part of the world due to? Listen. Tribhirgunamayer bhaver ebi sarvamidam jagat mohitam nabhijanati mamebhya paramavyayam. Tribhi, by three, gunamayai, composed of gunas, bhavaihi, by nature, abhi, by these, sarvam, all, idam, this, jagat, world, mohitam, deluded, na, not, abhijanati, knows, mam, me, ebhya, from them, param, higher, avyayam, immutable. Deluded by these natures, state, or things composed of three gunas of Prakriti, all this world knows me not as immutable and distinct from them. If there be such a divine factor beyond the usual cognition of the ordinary mortals, how is it that they are not in the position to understand at least the presence, if not a complete realization of this great truth? This question is answered here in this verse. Deluded by the modification of the three gunas, the world of living creature become blind to the divine possibilities in themselves and live totally a life of mere identification with the matter envelopments. The post is covered by the ghost vision for the deluded. It is a fact that as long as the ghost is seen, not even a portion of the post will be available for the perception of the deluded. Similarly, identifying with the products of Maya, the self comes to play the tragic role of the ego, and the ego, in its own preoccupations with the outer world and with its idle imagination, finds itself incapable of knowing its own true nature. This play of hide and seek, what ourself with ourself, in ourself, is the strange and mysterious play of the ego in universal sorrow and the endless mental squalor. Thus deluded, the ego does not realize the supreme distinctly different from both the lower and the higher prakritis and experience its divine nature of immutable glory. So after having read this shloka, what I've interested to know about the three qualities, and what I found was each of the three qualities, sattva, which is spiritual, has got 6 qualities which I came across. So the first one, it's the reference is found in the Tattva Bodha as well. Samadhi Shatka Sampatti. So this Sama Dhamma, which is Mano Nigraha, Dhamma, which is Bahindra Nigraha, Uparama, which is the Swadharma Anushtanam, which is to basically it's the Kartavya Karma that everybody has to do as per their Varnashrama, or it can also be what I thought is intellectual use, the usage of the intellectual faculty, um, uh, typically over the likes and the dislikes that we have. So that is what Uparama is. Titiksha is equanimity. Shraddha is Guru Vedanta Vakyadishu Vishwasa. And then Samadhana is the Chitta Ekagrata. So these are the 6 qualities of Sattva Guna. And for the Rajasa quality, which is passion, it has got Harsha, which is pleasure and or you can say excitement, darpaha, which is vanity or excessive pride, krodha, anger, raga, attachment, lobha, greed, pravritti, which is involvement in the material pursuit. So these are the 6 qualities which I came across for rajasic uh, guna. And for tamasic guna, the qualities which is idle. So there are 6 in them as well. Aprakasha, which is veiling from the truth. Apravritti, so it is without determination or insecurity, insincerity. So that is the apravritti. Pramada, which is doubt. Alasya, laziness or idleness. Nidra, sleep. And moha, delusion or infatuation. So these were the qualities which is pretty interesting that I came across. And when I further thought about this, then the 3 word that I could come across, these 3 gunas, sattva is ascension towards our towards dharma or towards what we want to achieve. So that guna, if we cultivate more, the ascension will happen. Rajasic quality is more of expansion in the material pursuit, whereas tamoguna or tamasic nature is dissension. So that's the 3 word I could catch up with or understand. I could give to these 3 gunas. What is important when I saw yesterday one Gurudev's video on the where Gurudev explains about the same coffee which has got only 3 ingredients, and how if the proportion of the milk, coffee, the decoction, the milk and the sugar, if it changes, how just these 3 things create so much of variation. So that was pretty interesting. So that's how every living being have these 3 nature in different proportion. So devatas would have more sattva guna, asuras are more rajasic in nature, while the animals are more tamoguna, they are more tamasic in nature. But humans, we are in a beautiful spot where we have more or less somewhat an equal proportion of all these 3 gunas. So that's when we get this human birth, which is my understanding. When the question comes, how do we get this nature? Now that is purely dependent on the karma, the theory or the law of karma, which is Lord himself. So that's how we get it. And and Lord goes to say that the clay is not, as an example, I would say here is clay is dependent, is not dependent on the pot, though the pot is made out of the clay. So that Bhagwan goes and explains that in the stanza. And Adi Shankaracharya here says, um, the Swarupa of Ishvara is Nitya Shuddha Buddha Mukta and and Swabhava. So here Shankaracharya gives a lakshanam or the characteristics of that very Atma. So one, it is eternal, it is Nitya. Shuddha, it is pure, it is Rahit, it is there is no Papa Punya to the self or to the Atma or to the Lord. Buddhi, it is always enlightened, so there is never ignorance in it. And Mukta, it is always free from the time and space, as in the last lecture we heard from Sanjay ji as well. So Adi Shankaracharya goes on saying that Ajnana or ignorance is the seed of the samsara, and then we understand, what I understood is, where does this ignorance come from? That's the next question logical to come up with. And here it is said that the whole living beings in the world is deluded, that is mohita, by modification of these three guna. And moha again is ignorance, and we saw it's one of the gunas of tamoguna, delusion. Uh, this is where the discrimination between the eternal and the non-eternal comes into play. I mean, you cannot discriminate between eternal, what is eternal, what is non-eternal. This reminded me of Saptashloki Durga, where the first stanza itself says, Jnani-namapi chetansi devi bhagavati hisa balada krishya mohaya mahamaya prayachati. So she says that with 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 my power, with that bala, I attract akrishya, mohaya. And how do I attract? Through I put them in moha, and that's how I, even the jnanis, I pull them back. So that is that somehow it came up to my mind. So what moha is in Saptashloki Durga, it is answered, and she answers it very beautifully there. And that is how we do not understand the avyaya. Avyaya is the that eternity, or that it is always present, that there is no death to it. And then it is and avyayam was explained that in a way very beautifully, that it has got shatbhava vikara. Now that was explained by saying the anything that is born will die. So one is, it will be born, jayati, asti, it will be present, then vardati, it will grow, and viprannamati, which is it undergoes changes, then apakshyati, which is it decays, and vinashyati, which is it gets destroyed. So these were the 6 qualities which was discussed, and says the supreme is beyond this. That's when he says, though I am in them, but I am different. I am not in them. So the wave is different from the ocean, or the ocean is different from the wave. That's what it means. This is my little understanding of the readings that I have done. Hari Om.
Hari Om. Next we will go to Balaji Sahib is there. Okay, Balaji Sahib, please.
Hari Om, Sadgurunath Maharaj ki Jai, Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Thank you, Vittalji. Very nice, beautiful explanations and a lot of references to explain the word meanings from various scriptures. It was a nice exposition. Thank you for that. Continuing on this, where we are, of course, 7th chapter, Jnana Vijnana Yoga. And you know that this entire chapter of Jnana Vijnana Yoga has been Bhagavan Vacha for those people who want to be successful in the seat of meditation. And also there has been a very clear indication that whenever the word mind or intellect is uttered here throughout this chapter, we should understand as the integrated mind and not the disintegrated mind of the personalities that we were having before reaching to the seat of meditation. Now, by Karma Yoga, we have purified ourselves. There is no pressure of vasanas. The mind and intellect is not running towards the OET outside. There is no pressure of the vasanas exhibited in the mind and intellect. And therefore, actions are not selfish in nature. So that is the state in which we are supposed to understand these verses. And a beautiful set of verses have come up for today's discussions. And since in the seat of meditation, we require plenty of pointers and props for us to stay connected with the higher nature within us through the focused mind and intellect. This entire chapter has been dedicated for that purpose. So that we should keep in mind. And the 7th verse, prior to the 7th verse, the mention of higher and lower nature in various ways that we can understand have been mentioned by the Lord himself. And in the 7th verse, he very clearly points out again as a summary that Matta Parataram na Anyat. Apart from me, there is nothing else in this world. How much ever you search, in whatever way you see it and you get deluded, you must remember only one thing. What is that? Matta Parataram na Anyat. And then that beautiful example of the Sutre Manikana Aiva, like the string that binds all the pearls together. The one common, the Lord being the common factor. In Gurudev's commentary, that word is the Lord is the common factor in all forms of the universe. Just in order to expound and explain and expand on this idea, verses so far following the 7th verse, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and in fact 14, all these verses, the next 7 verses, 8 to 14, you can say are explanations and expansions of this idea. The Lord is the common factor. This is the one simple idea that has been told and for us to understand. And since we don't understand this one simple idea, the Lord being the common factor, we miss many things. So what are the things that we missed? Why we miss? Is what is being told about in today's verses. Nothing can remain ever totally divorced from its own essential nature. This is again one more statement made for that 7th verse, which is nothing can remain ever totally divorced from its own essential nature. Now this is to be kept in mind. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 have been explained various aspects of what we can sense through our sense organs, what we can know through our mind and intellect. All is nothing but He only. Lord being the common factor has been discussed in detail. Here in our BMI chart, very easy to understand. Higher nature is the Om, the Atman, enlivening principle, whatever you may call. Only the Om is existence. He alone is appearing in all the variations through the vasanas, through the BMI, you form your own BFT, and the Jagat outside the changing world, OET, is all nothing but his expression only. This much only has been told. Om, the highest, the higher nature in us only. We are not able to realize what is the trick, what is the magic. That is what is being discussed today. Vasanas must be also understood here in today's shlokas. Ye chaiva satvika rajas and tamasas bhava. Expressions is bhava. When it comes to manifestation, it becomes bhava. And this sattva, rajas and tamas is nothing but in the microcosm level, it is your vasanas. In the macrocosm level, it is Ishvara's vasanas. And therefore, whatever has been his vasanas has been created as the world outside, as OET with the Panchamahabhutas. So let us not get confused. These 3 gunas mentioned here are nothing but our own vasanas only, manifesting depending upon the external circumstances in our mind and intellect. Therefore, the fluctuations in the moods of our mind happens, and therefore the variations and the pluralities is what we sense. Vasanas only. Guna is nothing but vasanas. Maya is nothing but gunas. So Maya is nothing but vasanas. So please don't get confused with the use of various terminologies across various scriptures. It is all meant to only make you think more, because when you confuse, an intelligent student will think more. But in our case, when we confuse, we run away from it. So therefore, to make it easy, Gurudev explains in many, many ways through the BMI chart that it is only this vasanas that is mentioned here as Satvika, Rajas, and and also from where it arises. Now, this last, the second pada of the 12th shloka, Gurudev mentions it to be as a Maha Mantra. Now that you have got a Maha Mantra, chant it every day in the seat of meditation. That is his advice in the video. What is the Maha Mantra? Matta eve ti tan vidhi. Everything is coming only out of me only. All these good, bad, ugly, indifferent thoughts, good, bad, indifferent, Gurudev says. This explained here. All thoughts or all objects of this world, all feelings, all ideas have to be categorized necessarily under these three only. That has been told on more detail. One entire chapter has been dedicated for that. The 14th chapter, how and all it expresses, what are its properties, where it manifests, what is its effects, everything we can study in detail later. But at the moment, we have to understand that our vasanas only are these three gunas, and depending upon what comes out in that mood. Early morning, Satvika mind is there. Office time, Rajasika is there. Night, 11 o'clock, whatever Satvik you may be, you tend to be tamasic and then tired, because at the gross, at the body level, also. So the variations, the changes that are happening within you at mood and mind level is also because of these three gunas which are arising from Matta Eveti Tan Vidhi. This is nothing from elsewhere, but supported entirely by the Om principle, the higher nature in us. And therefore, although I am there present everywhere, but I don't get involved into the happenings of the lower nature. So that is the Maha Mantra that has been given there. Na tvaham teshu te mayi. Na tvaham. Na tva aham teshu te mayi. By heart this one. Gurudev has asked us to by heart this part of the pada and use this as a Maha Mantra. When you get angry, when you get lust, when you get all the lower, baser nature that is manifesting in you very easily. What is difficult to manifest is the higher nature and the sattvic. Easily, whatever is manifesting is definitely Rajasic and Tamasic, and all the temptations and the lusts and the ideas and the sankalpas that you want to aggrandize and selfishness and running towards ideas and running towards objects, emotions, thinking that that is going to fulfill our immediate requirements. At least if you realize that it is going to fulfill only your immediate requirements temporarily, then you can say that you understood a bit of it. So therefore, that you have to very clearly understand that all this is supported by the higher nature, but the higher nature can never get contaminated by the lower. Whatever happens is happening only to the manifestations of the higher nature through this guna window, body, mind, and intellect. Whatever happens to the body, sickness, mind, agitations, intellectual ideas are sometimes disappointing, depressing. All these things are, you must clearly discriminate. That is that Viveka, to understand that nothing is affecting the higher. Ample examples have been given by Gurudev. So many in the talks, beautiful talks, we cannot afford to miss. Standing in the bank of the river, watching the river, you don't get wet. Why would you get wet? Boat in the ocean going up and down, but when you reach the shore, why would you go up and down again? Puncturing of the car is given, so beautiful. So many examples. At least one idea catches you. You get this idea of that they are in me, I am not in them. So this to be thought about that beautiful verse and this is further, I think, in the 9th chapter, more and more detail. Then Mohitam na abhijanati. Again, continuation of these gunas, the manifestation of sarvam idam jagat. Gurudev gives the jagat, 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 because it is keeping on changing. Anything in the Einsteinian time and space framework is called jagat. So that which is changing constantly is Jagat, and that which is changeless remains to be the higher nature, supported by which the Jagat functions. So that is what has been explained here, and that Mohitam Abhijanati, explained beautifully by that story of a Rajan being drunk and then in his own palace without any help, not able to find the key to turn the direction towards the higher. A beautiful story has been mentioned in the video. Remembering that story, we can easily understand what is Mohitam. A master storyteller, Sri Gurudev, is explained that part very, very beautifully. So this Mohitam, delusion arising out of the manifestation of the tamas in the intellect, keeps us not knowing. Rather, you can understand it this way, it makes us firmly believe that whatever we see in this transition world, transactional world, is so true that we tend to forget the nature, higher nature of the Lord, which is Param and Avyayam. Mam Ebhya. And that you see here that Krishna regrets that the world is not understanding him. Oh my God. What a statement that has been written here by Gurudev. Krishna regrets, and we are feeling so sympathetic around for the devotees, for his children, for the creation. You are also engrossed and lost into this womb. And beautifully again, Gurudev explains that tomb, the Dwaja concept he brought in there suddenly in the video talks. Twice born. Once you are inside the mother's womb, and so you are, so you feel so finite and so restricted. And once you come out of the mother's womb, you feel liberated because you have an expanse of world. That is the first born, he says. Second, he says that if you have just been liberated from the finite conditioning of the mind and intellect, that is your second born, and the vastness of freedom, liberation that you will enjoy after the realization of then removing yourself from the conditioning of the finite, controlled by the impulses of the mind. All these things, when it is removed, the freeness and the liberation that you will feel, the vastness and the what do you call, the universal vision, Vasudevam Sarvamiti, the vision that you will develop will be so vast that is the second bond. Dvaja is brought in beautifully, that point also here, that we have to break out of this tomb of the womb of thoughts created by these three gunas, vasanas. Sadgurunath Maharaj ki jai. Paucity of time, we can go on explaining this, but we have to keep in mind that in the BMI chart, the Om alone is true, the higher nature, all else is the lower nature that the Lord is trying to explain here. Sadgurunath Maharaj ki jai. Hari Om.
Hari Om. Thank you, Balaji. Bhuvanji would like to share your views.
Hari Om. Hari Om. Gita, I would like to. Hari Om to all of you. Sadgurunath Maharaj ki jai. I think very beautifully explained by Balaji and Vithalji Maharaj as well. And it is very self-explanatory, but for I think our understanding, we understand these shlokas again and again to understand that the Lord alone is the truth. I think this is important, that one has to prepare and has to speak to himself alone to understand what Lord is trying, what Lord is basically saying to us, that how we should understand this world, how should we understand self. So coming to the shloka number 12, the Lord says, the Arjuna has been told by Lord that I am the purest strength. In the shloka number 11, I am the purest strength. And I am the unopposed of dharma in all being. I am the desire. Now, before I could digest this, God has thrown other whirlpool, and now is saying that these expression of purity, sattvikta, the expression of rajasic basically activeness, and the tamsikta, which is inert, have come from me is all right. But I am not in them. I am not in them. They are in me. A normal devotee like me will get confused. That Lord just said, like what Balaji Maharaj also said, Sutre Manigana Eva. And the earlier shloka, number 7, God said that they are all strung in me as a cluster of gems on me. Now Gurudev comes to help to explain what exactly Lord means here. And Gurudev writes in his commentary that so all are in me, but I am not in them. So let's understand how God is not in these. Now, till now we have read and understood every effect has a cause, and the effect is nothing but the cause at the lower level. Now here it is a little different. This is not a cause and effect relationship. Now the shloka has talked about the three gunas, the sattvic, rajasic and tamasic. Now understand the phala of these three tendencies. The rajasic tendencies gives us more thirst and attachment. The sattvic tendencies give us the knowledge and the happiness. And the inert or tamasic tendency is born out of ignorance, and it dilutes the whole embodied being. What is the problem here? It's all ultimately the three gunas taking us to the different phalas. So in the chapter 14, I'll take the example of one of the shloka, which is just now the tendency. Sattvam nirmalatvat prakashakam namayam sukha sangena badhnati jnana sangena chanagha. The problem in all these three shloka, if we look at, is badhnati. The all tendencies are bonding us to the karma phala. They are not liberating. And if it is liberating, not liberating, it cannot be the Lord. So God says that I am the calm. The God says in that I am the calm raga vivarjitam. So God cannot bind us. God is helping us through the message of Bhagavad Gita. He is liberating us. Now understand not in me. Let's understand not in me. The waves, as we all know, are born in the ocean. They are grown in the ocean and they die in the ocean. But the cause of the wave is not the ocean. The waves can destroy mountain. They can bring tsunami, but they can do no harm to the ocean. And also the ocean is not the cause of the wave. A favorite expression, when I was listening to Gurudev, the favorite expression of the Gurudev was, so what? So one of the devotee who was meditating reached Gurudev and said, Gurudev, I am getting dirty thoughts, I am getting wild thoughts. Once somebody said, I am getting good thoughts. And somebody come and said, Gurudev, I get angry. And the Gurudev answered, so what? And he beautifully said that they're all temporary. They're all generated by the pollution of our desired mind. They cannot affect you because they are in you. You are not in them. My father's favorite expression, he always asked, Jal mein gandagi hai aur gandagi mein jal. The dirt is there in the water or water is in the dirt. Sharir mein atma hai ya atma mein sharir. The soul, the self is in the body or the body is in the self. And a contemplation will help us to understand that the body has soul in it. Now, is the body because of the self? No. Body is not because of the self. It's because of our prarabdha, our previous vasanas. So it's very clear to us that this is not a cause and effect relationship. And why the expression that they all are in me, but I am not in them. Sorry, I think they are in me, but I am not in them. Now, while listening to Vithalji, the next shloka, which is the Tribhugan Mair Va Verehi Edhi Sarvmidam Jagata Mohitam Nabi Janati Mamebhya Paramabhyam. Now, what is the reason that we do not understand this? And the word uses moh. And then Vithalji talks about the coffee. And a very good contemplation came to my mind that the nature has given us sweetness and bitterness. And supported by the Lord's higher nature, we further taken it to milk and sugar. And the bitterness has become the coffee, and the coffee has coming from the various parts. And the milks are also of different type, like almond, camel, sugar, and whatever not. And then the sugar is also of different type. And we are so multiplied, and now it has become espresso and latte and American, what not. And we got now so deluded that we forgot that the simplest form of the sweetness and bitterness was the nature itself, like the milk and the sugar. And only after getting into this constipation and disease and etc., we realize that these are not suitable to me. I should be simply drinking a glass of water. And that's why they say the wise man's drink is water. So this is the reason I think we are so multiplied and gone so ahead that we're unable to understand the God in his true nature. Hari Om.
Hari Om Bol. I will call some names, but in the meanwhile, if any of you have any points to raise or any question to ask, just alert me so that I can call you next. So can Sudesh ji share your views, please?
Hari Om, no thanks.
Okay. What about Umesh ji?
Oh, Hari Om, not today, Pradeep ji. Thank you so much.
Okay. And who's next? Raghunandan ji? Or Raghunandan ji is, yeah.
Hari Om. No, maybe I'm just leaving for the office.
Okay.
So I'll keep listening. Okay. Hari Om.
Hari Om. Jairam ji?
No, Pradeep ji. I'm also leaving now.
Then who else would like to speak? Dilip ji?
No, I have already participated.
No, on this verse, if you have any points, yeah. Okay, Hari Om. Guruji?
No, Ji. Thanks.
Okay. What about Arun? Arun ji?
No, Pradeep, I'm not talking today. Hari Om.
Okay. So anyone has any questions or any to share something? Dr. Arpit?
Hari Om. Not today, sir.
Okay. Who else is there? Manish ji is out for some time. Okay. Hari Om, I will share my views in the meanwhile. Hari Om. Ye chaiva satvika bhavaha rajasa tamasaschaye matta eveti tan vidhi natvaham teshu te mayi tribhir gunamayer bhavai ebhis sarvamidam jagat mohitam nabhi janati mamebhyah param avyayam. So this is connecting from the verse 7, where Bhagavan said, Matta paradaram na anyata kinjidasti dhananjaya mai sarvamidam prodam sutre maniganaiva. And also in the 6th verse, it was said that everything is rising in me and everything is dissolving in me. So here, and Bhagavan went on to explain with some examples, and then now connecting back to verse 7. So here it is said, Echa eva satvika bhavaha rajasaha tamasaha matta eveti tan vidhi. All these three moods are rising in me. Yet natvaham teshu te mai. They are not te natu aham teshu. I am not in them. Te mai. They are in me. So there, Swamiji Gurudev has given that beautiful example, which all of you have said about the coffee, the beautiful example, the tea maker, assuming that the tea maker says that I have all the three things from me, which I mix it or gives out depending on your desire, what you desire, or depending on your vasanas. So the beautiful, hilarious example of Punjabi, Gujarati, and South Indian who likes milk or more milk and more. But there can be, as Bhuvanji said, there can be in number of permutations and combinations by which. That's why even we take one coffee today, tomorrow it is not the same coffee again. It is so every moment we are under the influence of a particular combination of Rajas, Tamas, and Sattva, Guna. And it is that we have to understand that these are not ever permanent in us. This varies. So it depends on the preponderance of which guna that guides that particular moment. So there is, in fact, sometimes we worry too much that, I am too tamasic, I'm not feeling. Or sometimes I feel, I'm very sattvic, I'm attending the class and all these things. But these are all passing, it is never firm. What we try to feed in or focus on, so that will have that preponderance, and then we will our attitude, our character, our approach, everything will depend on that particular aspect of it. So it's keep changing and it can be changed. So this is something which, and Gurudev gives from Bhagavan's words, that is, they are in me, I am not in them. So that is the sort of bottom line for this chapter, where Gurudev said that after this yajna, that every day we will have to say this, that they are in me, I am not in them. So initially we don't get that feel of it, but still keep saying that they are in me, I am not in them. And then slowly try to understand what is that, what is in me and why I am not in them. Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya, all these things comes to us. It is manifested at various times, various situations, based on the various climatic conditions of the mind, the moods of the mind. So when it rises, we know that it is, we identify with it, so we get confused. But if we know this particular knowledge, that they rise in me, sometimes they rise in me and they stay in me, and then they go off. They don't stay permanently with me, because there are moments where I am free of this. I am very comfortable, or have a very peaceful state of mind. So that means they are depending on me, but I am not depending on them. So by saying this, they are in me, I am not in them, the fundamental thing we have to understand is that they depend on me, but I don't. I can stay without them. The ocean can stay without the waves, without the bubble, without the lather, without the tsunami. It comes, it rises, it stays, it makes havoc, and then it goes off, subsides, and there can be moments of absolute silence, peaceful ocean. So that means the ocean is independent of the bubble, the lather, the waves, the ripples, everything. So the changes. So these are all subject to changes, or all these changes are due to, there it can be that we have seen that in the verse 7, that everything is based on a cause and effect. And all the cause and effect are based on or conditioned by time. So when we are engrossed in something, there is no time. So at that time, we are beyond the conditionings. So when we are beyond the conditioning, so how to bring it, that state of mind, is the technique given in the earlier chapter. Samam gaya shiro grivam dharayan achalam stiraha samprekshya nasikagram swam disascha anavalogayan. That steadying the mind, steadying the body, steadies the mind, the quietens the mind. So, and the single pointedness through various sadhanas. So when the ekagrata, single pointedness, is coming, so the time is stilled. The mind is stilled. The mind is absorbed. So at that time, we are beyond the time, or we rise above the mind. So the mind and intellect, that alone is the factor which varies, because the ultimate reality, the higher nature, the life force in us is the same in all of us. And the Panchabhutas by which we are all made is also the same. Then what is the difference? The difference is the mind and intellect, the texture of the mind and intellect. So by quietening, we transcends the mind. By transcending the mind alone, the truth can be realized. So in Vedanta, it is Shankaracharya Swami says that Shruti, Yukti, Drishtanta, and Anubhava is the process. So from the Shastra Jnana, the Shruti, the Shravana, whatever you heard should not be taken straight away, but through satsanga and using the yukti obtained through Guru Vachanas, Shraddha, through Shraddha, and so that yukti, not your Vyavahariga yukti. So the proper yukti developed from the Shastra Jnana and Guru Vakya. With that, we have to understand the whatever is learned in the scriptures, and using the examples, Drishtanta, which are also from the Upanishads. That is, these are the examples, that Sanupurusha, that post and the ghost, the Rajju Sarpa, the snake and the rope. All these things are from the Upanishads. We have to take it, not the general examples, because that will again examples are for the sake of understanding it, but still, so that Drishtanta has to be used so that this can come into the Anubhava. So for that, Gurudev gives these various techniques where one has to put in efforts to say this, they are in me, I am not in them. Even in the Vyavaharika level, Gurudev says that when you are angry, say that the anger is in me, I am not in them. I am not in anger. It will come, stay, and go. I am not here depending on that. They are depend on me. So it is very difficult for us to do this, but still, if we keep saying that without any results also in the initial phase, this helps. That they are in me, they rise in me, they stay in me, they go off. But I am independent of all these things. So that is the sloka number 12, and sloka number 13 says, Tribhir gunamayer bhavehi evis sarvamidam jagata mohidam na abhijanati mamebhya paramam vyayam. That the true nature of me is not known by anybody. Bhagavan laments, repents or laments. That is because of moha, mohitam na abhijanati. Moha is because of the second chapter. We have seen that, dhyayato vishayan pumsaha sangasteshu vajayate sangan samjayate kamaha kamat krodho vijayate krodhat bhavati sammohaha. So the continuous contemplation or thoughts towards the objects of the world keeps us into that channel of repeated actions that becomes the vasanas in us, and that creates desire in us, and the desire creates efforts or actions to achieve that. And in that, when we achieve it, when we don't achieve it, we get angry. And in the anger, due to anger, the moha comes, the delusion. And from there, it goes off further, moha, the moha, smriti vibhramaha. Then our mind, the buddhi gets shattered. And smriti bhramshad, and the memory loss. Buddhinashat, smriti bhramshad buddhinashaha, buddhinashat pranasyati. And so that is the downfall of man, explained there in 62 and 63 verses of chapter 2. So that is the moha by which that we don't realize that my true nature is independent of all these things, and that is the Om, the higher nature. So we identify with the ego's level, that is risen from when the Atma Swarupa, the Paramatma, the Chaitanya is fallen on the Buddhi Tattva, the I-ness and minus is rising. And so that we identify with it, and the mind is developed from there and goes on to the senses and the attractions of the senses and goes out into the. So that misunderstanding or non-apprehension of reality is the cause for the misapprehension of reality, that these things will give us satisfaction, or we are getting attached to it and attracted to it by forgetting or the bringing us into the delusion whereby we don't realize our true nature. That is Bhagavan lamenting. That is why their Gurudev comes to help to put us on the track by saying that, say this every day, they are in me, I am not in them. So this is the essence what I can like to share. Hari Om, if anyone else are available to share their views. Manish ji is back. No. So any more questions or anything to share? Anyone? Please share. Otherwise, we'll pass on to Dr. Sanjay ji. Meenakshi ji is there or no? Meenakshi ji also.
Hari Om, I'm there. Yes.
Yeah, please.
Yeah. Hari Om. So the chapter 7, I find very intense, very deep. And personally, I feel that this chapter should, for a person like me, I'm unable, I find it difficult to understand. The more I try to understand, it becomes even more difficult for me to understand. But, and I feel this chapter should have been there in the later stages, because at this point, the stage is on, our stage is on self-development. But when you hear Gurudev's commentary, the Gita Adhyay, it becomes more easier, the way he explains, and I don't think anyone can explain it better than the way he has explained it. So coming back to the verses, verse 12, the earlier verses spoke about what is Lord, the essence of Lord. He's the strength, he's the essence in everything. And the verse 12 now talks about that everything, so the Lord is saying that everything is in me. And this verse talks about the relationship of us, the finite mortal, with the infinite. So I will speak what Gurudev has spoken in the Gita Yajna. So, and very, as Pradeep ji has said, very inspiring the way he said it. Everything is in me, I am not in them. So when I was reading the Art of Man Making or the Bhagavad Gita commentary, I found it very difficult to understand. But when I heard Gurudev's commentary, it became very easy. It became, I feel I understood. I don't know how much I understood, but it became relatively easy to understand. So like Gurudev has said, all the thoughts are coming from me alone. Let thoughts rise. Why should we get entangled? Without getting conditioned, we move on it. So we stand on the bank of the river. We see the river floating. So river flowing. Like Gurudev says that the river is flowing. You don't remove your clothes and jump in the water. No, you stand there and you see the river floating. So you stand, and all the circumstances in your life, let them pass by. All the ups and downs in your life, let them pass by. You stand there and watch the river flowing. So I am out of them. They are in me. I am out of them. Outer world cannot affect me. It doesn't have the ability to affect. And because inert things cannot make us dance. We dance with them because we get identified with the thought. So glimpse of this we have seen in the chapter 2 as well. Then Gurudev has given has a faster joke on how people go for window shopping, and if the shopkeeper puts a camera there, you see different emotions of different people coming and seeing at different mannequins which are there displayed in the shop, in the shops, because the person identifies with that. So the ocean, so he keeps on repeating it again and again, and it kind of becomes firm within you. They are in me, I am not in them. The ocean, is not in the wave, the egocentric misconception of the wave. So from the ocean's standpoint, everything is rising in me, playing in me, dying in me. Examples of, so he's given a very funny example. The wave, as it is a ripple, then it becomes stronger. The wave feels that I have captured the other waves. I have become more stronger. Then it dies down, and then it says, "What is this ocean? You're so cruel. You have made me die down. Once upon a time, I was such a strong wave." So you identified with the ego. But from the ocean standpoint, all the waves are coming and going. So, so generally things in our life, we stand apart. We don't identify ourselves. Like Gurudev has said, certain amount of detachment is needed to enjoy anything in life. So detaching ourselves and letting all the things, all the chapters in our life unfold, and we watching there without getting identified. But that doesn't mean we sit there quietly and do nothing in life. That's not what it means. It also means you work. So so when people talk about sattva, rajas, and tamas, sattva is also extreme work, extreme. So they give an example of the fan which moves very, very fast. It doesn't look as if it's moving. So it's extreme. Rajas, so rajas is when you do things for yourself. You're working too much, but you do for yourself. But if you say Gurudev, we say any of the missionaries who've been there, they have done extreme amount of work. It's just not for them. So over here also, you are acting, you're doing everything, you're just detaching yourself from that action. Then Gurudev has said, the PFT, the perceiver, feeler, and thinker is in me, I am not in them. And he's told us to practice. The anger rises in me, you say that I am not in the anger. The anger is in me, I am not in it. Detach, stand apart. The lust is coming in me, I am not in it. The lust is apart from me. The equipments are in me. We think that there are thoughts, so we detach ourselves from the thoughts. Agitations come, so every day we sit down for meditation, agitations keep coming in our mind, we keep thinking, it disturbs us. We stay apart and watch the agitations, be a silent observer of all the agitation. The higher conscious is in me, I am not in the agitations. Then he has given a funny example again, that there's the boat is going in the river, and because of the river, the boat is dancing. The boat will dance. That's the nature of the waves. Life is so boat. It's a very deep thing to contemplate on. Life will be like this. Life has to be like this. The boat will move on. The mind and intellect will move on. We stand apart. It's like Gurudev has said, mind is nothing but the flow of thoughts. Thoughts will come. We can't. I mean, how much ever we try, whatever you break your head, it's difficult for the mind to. The thoughts, you can quieten it a bit by chanting or whatever, by reading and not watching, following everything which Swami Shivananda has said, but it doesn't stop. It keeps on going on. And that's the nature of mind. It will continue chattering. We stand apart from it and keep watching how the mind moves forward. Temptations are in me, I'm not in them. So this is the relation which Gurudev is talking about. And he's made it very simple to understand. Actually, if you read in the commentary, it talks about the superimposition of the plurality of the world. That is kind of very difficult to understand. So this becomes very easier when Gurudev explains it. And the 10th chapter is on why we are not able to understand. That's because we are identified with the mind, the nature. He's explained about Jagat, meaning that the world that is all changing, it's subject to change. Liberation of my personality from shackles of mind and intellect. That is liberation. So what is liberation? Liberation of my personality from the shackles of mind and intellect. And because of that, we can't understand our higher nature. So, and then he's given a very funny example of that, of the Christmas Eve, when people are drunk and they hug the lamppost. He's given that. So a person forgets his own higher nature because they get identified with the drinks, and of the king who is drinking, who goes to drink with his minister. And the night when he comes back, the queen is telling him that the key is in your pocket. Just you just have to turn the key. We will open the door, we'll take you inside. Similarly, all this whispering the queen is saying is the words of Mother Shruti. You just turn your mind towards me. Turn your mind towards me and we will do everything else. Hari Om.
Hari Om. We'll move to Sanjay ji now.
Hari Om. Bhagavan, in the concluding part of Apara Prakriti, the moment Bhagavan says, I have a Para Prakriti and Apara Prakriti, it means we have two types of worlds. One is phenomenal world. Phenomenal world is one where phenomena happen. Phenomena is there is a subject, there is an object, and there is a subject-object interaction. Pramatru, prameya, subject and the object and their interaction. If these three are not there, it is not a phenomenal world at all. Our world, the whole creation, is phenomenal world. Phenomenal world has arisen from nominal world. Nomenon, non-phenomenal world. In other words, there is a creator, there is a thing which has creative power, who has created the universe. The question is, that is the world of reality, Brahma Satta, the world of reality. Ours is a world of phenomena or phenomenal world. So the whole thing is the combination of nomenon and phenomenon, or subject-object related world delineated by experience as the basic thing, and another part which has nothing to do with the phenomenal world, which the Lord has explained already as mama, para, and apara prakriti. And he says mama means that is also mine, this is also mine. So the Lord is not denying his creation. Lord says creation is mine only, and I am the one who created the world, but I am not the creation. I have created the world. I am not the creation. This mysterious relationship between the creator and the creation, where the creator admits that I have created the world and simultaneously says that I have nothing to do with it. Now, this is a oxymoron. It's a paradox. Either you created the world, so you're definitely connected with the world, because you just now you said you created the world, and you say, yes, I created the world. It's not that you're not admitting it after creation. You're admitting it. The Lord says that, yes, I did. I have created the world. Everything in this world is because of me. However, I am not into it. Then what is this mysterious relationship between creator and the creation, where creator denies to be in the creation and yet says that creation is because of me? This part of esoteric aspect of philosophy is the pride or bhushan of Hindu philosophy. If the world, the real reality, or the Brahma or the creator has created this world, another question comes to the mind. So if he has created it, he must have already set the laws for this particular world. What is the role for me in that then? If everything in this universe is created by the Lord, it is all Ishwara Pranita. We all have Shraddha on Ishwar, and Ishwar, we have not seen Ishwar, agreed. But he has created the world, we agree to that. Then if he has created the world, if man has manufactured a car, then the entire thing in the car is pre-decided by the man. How it will run, how much petrol it will consume, which part will move first, is all predetermined. So similarly, if the Lord has created the world, that means, am I an absolute mechanical part in this world simply to just carry forward the orders given by the creator or not? If I consider that the world of reality or the Brahma has complete control over whatever he has created. If that is so, then it is called a theory of predeterminism or Daiva. Everything is Daiva Likhita. There is nothing you can do. No point in doing any study of Bhagavad Gita, nothing. Why? He has already decided who will go where and how it will happen. And if he has no control on the created world, then everybody in the created world have a complete freedom of doing whatever they want. So there is a complete free will. Swecha. I will do anything what I want. Why? There is no control on me. I am not being controlled by anything. The creator is not controlling me. This is a classic war between two aspects in philosophy: predeterminism versus free will, Daiva versus Swaprayatna or Swecha. We are neither predetermined nor having free will. How that is possible? Either the Lord has already chalked the path for us, whatever may be his intention, he has already chalked out the path for us. No point in doing, we can't change it. This is one way of looking at it. Hoga wahi jo Ram rachi rakha, which is wrongly interpreted and pronounced every now and then by Indians. How Tulsidas Maharaj Ji, the way he wrote about it, had enormous amount of philosophy embedded in that statement. We took it for our use, and we always say, when we don't do anything, when we are lazy, procrastinating, we say hoga wahi jo Rama rachi rakha. Is it hoga wahi jo Rama rachi rakha ki prayatnam balvattaram? Effort is as ultimate or predetermination? And the mystery of this is solved through the theory of one darshana called Sankhya Darshana. And the greatest gift of Sankhya Darshana to the mankind, why call it Hindu religion? To the mankind is the gift of Trigunas. Each darshana has given special gems, making a garland of Shad Darshanas. If a Nyaya Darshana gives the diamond in which the Praman or the epistemology has been highly refined, then Sankhya Tattvajnan gives that beautiful ruby which gives the foundation of creation of the universe to the tattva of Prakriti and 24 tattvas modulated through Trigunas. In fact, the quantum physics, the foremost physics on the forefront of physics development, which is still in theoretical stage, having little applications in everyday gadget that we are handling now, which are chip oriented, whether it is computer, mobile, or even an atomic reactor, all of them are working on the principle of quantum physics, and the quantum physics in its entirety is trying to come close to the Sankhya philosophy. What it means? The Sankhya say the world you may see of absolute variety and millions of varieties, and they'll keep becoming more. Prakriti is a yoni, bahu prasava. She has not yet stopped. So far, we saw a dinosaur. It's gone. And in the time of dinosaur, if somebody was there, he would have never imagined that there would be a man. The trees were not green earlier. They were gray colored. It was not imagined that there will be a tree with green leaves. There was no water. Oceans formed later on. That means Kal cannot decide the probability of Prakruti or creation throwing further new varieties. When such a enormous amount of plurality is there, the question comes, it looks bizarre and chaotic. Is it not that it has some standardization? And the great discovery of Sankhya Tattva Jnana is the entire creation can be put into only 3 strands. When they are interwoven, the world is formed. Every single constituent of the world, chara or achara, jiva, sajiva or nirjiva, every particle of this universe shall have these 3 important strands in making up that particular particle's existence. Take example of wind, pavana. Take example of human body, sharira. Take example of tree, vruksha. All the 3 will have only these 3 things in different proportions. It is the difference in the proportion of these 3 strands that defines a particle in a particular point of time. If presently I am with these 3 strands, which are called as sattva, raja, and tama. Sattva, raja, tama, 3 would exist with each other, never in equality. You cannot have 33.33, 33.33, 33.33 sattva, raja, tama. If that happens by chance in your case, you are out of the world. You are out of the creation. Guna samya avastha is not a prakrutodbhava avastha, it is prakruti laya avastha. In fact, all our sadhana is just to achieve this particular balance of gunas called guna samyavastha. Because in samyavastha, in equal proportion, when the 3 gunas are there, nothing manifests. And when nothing manifests, those gunas are as good as useless. That is called as nistraigunya avastha. The person or the jiva is without guna, and the one who is without guna is not a prakruti, and one who is not a prakruti is purusha or brahma. In other words, as long as you are not brahmi bhuta or ishvara sadrusha or ishvara himself, everything else here is prakruti, and prakruti is the name given for 3 ladies standing together called sattva, raja, tama. They always are in alingana with each other. No sattva alone exists, no raja alone exists, no tama alone exists. If exists, the 3 will exist together. They may exist in different proportions, but simultaneous existence of 3 is a must. When in a rare circumstances, the 3 exist with equal proportion, their existence itself comes to 0 or not, which is called Prakruti Laya Avastha. Prakruti Laya Avastha is equal to Guna Samya Avastha. How does that translate into the modern science? Cognition, activity, and stability, these are the only 3 things we perceive in this world. Think deeply. Think with deep interest. All that we do in this world can be boiled down to only 3 things: cognition, activity, stability. you are in the process of knowing something, you are in the process of moving something, or you are not doing either. There is no fourth thing possible for anything that we do in the world. We may give the name as per our suitability. Oh, the man is in love with that woman. The horse is running. The water is boiling. The rain is pouring. All these are ultimately boiled down to only three things. And those three things are cognition, activity, stability. This is called as prakasha, kriya, and sthiti in Sankhya Tattva Jnana. So the sutra that talks in Sankhya philosophy, which is taken for reference here in Bhagavad Gita, is prakasha, kriya, sthiti, shilam, bhutendriyatmaka, bhoga, apavarga iti drusham. A power-packed sutra which completely describes in one line entire world. What it says? Drusham means this world, creation is nothing but prakasha kriya sthiti shilam bhutendriyatmaka. Prakasha kriya sthiti, cognition, activity, stability, meaning sattva rajatama, interplay of these three gunas through bhuta indriya, pancha mahabhuta, which is the objective side, indriya, which is the subjective side, bhuta indriyatmakaha, bhoga apavarga. Bhoga, experiencing, apavarga, not experiencing, iti drusham. Sankhya have defined the creation. Now the Bhagavan is saying, ye means aham and idam, both. Whatever is there in char and achara is what? Sattvika bhava rajas tamasascha ye. All that you see in this world, whether sajiva or nirjiva, is nothing else but bhava. It's a mental state. Why it is a mental state? Because you perceive it, so it is existing. It is not existing because you perceive. You perceive, so it exists. Stop perceiving, it will not exist. When you are sleeping, you're not perceiving. Where does the world go? It doesn't exist. That means existence is nothing else but perception. If existence is nothing but perception, then it is called mental state or bhava. So whatever you see means mental state. It's not talking about reality, because in fact, one of the fundamental principle of Advaita is the world is not existing. So moment if you say the existing world, it defies the logic. So they say, no. The mental state in which you perceive the world, which is called bhava, is perceived in the manner you perceive because of three gunas called sattva rajatam. Now sattva rajatama, physics and chemistry also deals with it. Everything is divided to molecule. Molecule gets divided to atom. Atom is divided to nucleus and subatomic particles. Subatomic particles are having a particular set of motion, and subatomic particles are same everywhere. Iron, copper, gold, body, bone, hair, cloth, all of them have subatomic particles. There is no bhed. In this world, there is no bhed. Why? Everything is made up of subatomic particles, each having certain characteristic and quality. Depending upon their cumulative combination resulting into some characters, it takes a shape and some quality, and then we call, oh, it is gold, this is clay, that is tree, this is mountain, this is stone, this is my hand. The hand for me is a hand because it helps me in transactional vyavaharika vishwa. But hand is nothing, subatomic particles constantly moving. I can't see it. That's my problem. But the nail itself is having billions of subatomic particles with energy constantly moving. So everything is ultimately boiling down to energy and particle. Prana and Rai. Upanishads have got fantastic store of quantum mechanics into it. Prana and Rai, particle and wave, is the ultimate essence. When they combine, their mode of combination is defined as Sattva Rajatam. Their effect that comes as anger or peace, that is effect. Karya, combination is Sattva Rajatama. So more focus is on Karya, not on you are angry, you are not angry, you are greedy. These are effects. These three are at a particle level described as vibration, mobility, and inertia. In physics, there is nothing in this world except these three. There is an inertia, there is a mobility, and there is a vibration. When harmonious vibration is there, harmonious mobility is there along with the inertia, it is called as wave or vibration. In other words, the inertia is tamaguna, mobility is rajoguna, vibration in an harmonious manner, because mobility along with inertia in harmony is called vibration or wave. Wave is not produced unless there is a harmonious vibration along with the inertia. That's why wave has a particular pattern going on in a very same undulating manner in a wave form. That means when Raj and Tama is balanced, Sattva arises. That being the reason, a stage further comes where Sattva also gets balanced with Raja and Tama. Moment the balance of Sattva Raja Tama is done, Nistraigunyo Bhava Arjuna. And since these are nothing else but the potentialities created from Prakriti or Shakti, Lord here as a Shiva, he is saying that, look, Parvati is Ashrita on me, agreed. I am not Parvati. She is Shakti, she is Maya, she is Adi Shakti, agreed. I am not Adi Shakti. Adi Shakti depends on Adi Yogi, Shankara. All these Prakriti and Prakriti Bhava Guna are definitely Tan Mat Eva Iti Vidhihi. They are all because of me, understand? The cloud has water. Naneshwar Maharaj has given a beautiful, there are 7, 8 upama or drishtanta he has given. Cloud has water, but can water say that cloud is in me? No. Cloud has water. Water cannot say that there is a cloud in me in the same manner. In the same manner, the seed of a tree, if it is pressed, you will get rasa out of it, juice out of it. The seed has juice in it, but when it becomes a tree and the tree has a wood, dry wood, can the dry wood say that the seed and the rasa is in me? The dry wood has come from the tree which has sprung from the seed, but the seed and its rasam is not there in the dry wood. So dry wood is because of the seed, but the seed is not there in the dry wood. That is why na tu aham teshu saptami teshu temai. In them I am, they are not in me. I am the core of their existence. But the existence is not me, because I don't exist. The phenomenal world is because of me. But I am not the phenomenal world because I am not anything. What to talk of phenomenal world? I am not nothing. So nothing that the Mahayana Buddhists started calling me Shunya. Although I'm not Shunya. They almost reached to me, but then at the last moment they stopped. So they called me Shunya. I am not Shunya. I am Satchit Ananda Swarupa. Frankly speaking, I am not even Satchit Ananda. This is for your understanding. Lord is saying, I am telling you that I am Satchit Ananda Swarupa. So every object in this phenomenal world is nothing else but a particular quality or guna bearing object. Fire is hot, water is sapid, sapidity is there in the water. These are dharmas or the guna. And these dharmas of them are because of the three gunas. And these three gunas are constantly combining and changing. That is why there is not a single moment when gunas are not combining. That is the reason everything is constantly changing, which is called vikruti. Prakriti produces guna. Gunas lead to vikruti. And vikruti is the reason why there is no permanence in the world. Then what should I do? Be permanent. Then what should I do? Avoid which is impermanent or vikruta. How do I avoid that? Try to balance the gunas. Guna samya avastha. How do I do that? Right now you have two gunas predominating in you, either tamas or rajas. What should I do? If tamas is more, try to reduce it first. Then what will happen? Rajas will increase. No, but I want to increase sattva. Sattva will not increase right away. If you are tamasi, then first increase rajas. A lazy person should first start walking. And a regularly walking person then can afford to rest. Tamaguna pradurbhava yukta purushaha prathamam raja guna akarshatvat karyam kurute. Get the rajoguna first. Swami Vivekananda, when he was told about what should be done for India, there should be lot many monks and all that. Swamiji said, forget about everything. This country is so dead, it requires rajoguna. Get out of your place, start working, go to the universities, do the things, do the research, earn money. Only when rajoguna preponders, then the shortness of rajoguna, the defects of rajoguna will tell you to push yourself to sattvaguna. You can't ask a beggar saying that, you start reading Gnaneshwari and Bhagavad Gita. He will not, because he's short of rajoguna. We all have seen rajogunic activity in our life. We made money, we earned money, we enjoyed parties, clubs, whatnot, and then we realized how stupid it is. Only when the rajoguna came in us. So tamoguna to rajoguna, rajoguna to sattvaguna is a natural succession. That is why Gurudev says, if A is not B, the latter cannot be in the former. I am not in them, they cannot be in me. This is a sweet paradoxical statement. Gurudev says not only paradoxical, sweet. What is the sweetness in this statement? The sweetness is, it is not a parinama, it is a vivarta. Brahma and Vishwa is not karya karan bhav in the sense of parinamavad. It is not a parinam. It is vivarta. World is an appearance. World is an appearance. World is not a creation the way we know. Water boiled and the vapor came out. Vapor is a parinam of boiling of water. In this manner, the world is not created. Brahma was lying there as a rope. I perceived it as a snake. Snake has no existence, but it is perceived. Perceived because the rope is lying. This is how world is created. World is there, but actually not there. World is perceived on Brahma. Brahma is actually there. world is not there, but perceived. This is called A-B phenomenon of sweet paradox. That is why, because you don't understand it. But why I don't understand it? Prita Purani Karane re, Chuga Chuga Kankada Khai. It's not this birth. You have Adhyana since ages. That is why you're not able to see this rope. Snake only appears real. The rope is not even coming into mind. So much we are involved in the activities because of the snake that we don't even know that there is a rope existing there. Why this is happening? What could be the reason? It is because of the Anantakala Adhyana. Adhyana gives immediately birth to a baby called Ahanta or Ahankar. And Ahankar, how do you know you have Ahankar? Delusion is the sin kanan of Ahankar. If you have Ahankar, you will be definitely Mohita, Mudha. So because we are Mudha, we can conclude that the reason for that is Ahankara. Why the Ahankara is there? Because of Adhyana. From where did this Adhyana came? It has come from ages together. So that means the Adhyana has no end? No. It is Anadi, but not Ananta. It is there for ages. But if you want to break it, you can. How do I do that, sir? Because I want to, then you have to work on your gunas. And how do I then work on my gunas? How can I do that? That is what the Lord is going to tell henceforth. First he declared the para prakriti. Now he wants to tell how to get out of this so-called sweet paradoxical phenomena. Hari Om.
Hari Om. Sukumarji for the closing prayers.
सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः, सर्वे सन्तु निरामय, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु, मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्। असतो मा सद्गमय, तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय, मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमय। ओम शांति शांति शांतिः। हरिः ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम। Just take our pledge now. Stand as one family, bound to each other with love and respect. We serve as an army, courageous and disciplined, ever ready to fight against all low tendencies and false values within and without us. We live honestly, the noble life of sacrifice and service, producing more than what we consume and giving more than what we take. We seize the Lord's grace, keep us on the path of virtue, courage, and wisdom. May thy grace and blessings flow through us to the world around us. We believe that the service of our country is the service of the Lord of Lords. and devotion to the people is the devotion to the Supreme Self. We know our responsibilities, give us the ability and courage to fulfill them. Om Tat Sat.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om. Gurnath
Hari
Maharaj.
Om.
Hari Om.
Today we have a talk by Sanjay ji online on the mantra. Yeah.
Today, not tomorrow, right? Today.
Yeah, 7:30.
Fine. Thank you.
Hari Om.